While we are on the topic of adding functionality to our header, I figured why don't we add navigation logic? So when this text home is clicked, I want to be able to navigate to our home page. So Bubble comes pre-built with this option. There is go to page, which is talking about a page within your Bubble application. We can refresh the page. We can go to our previous page, so whatever page we were previously on, it'll redirect us back. If we want to open an external website, we need to use a separate action and a couple more. So we are just going to go to page clone, which is just what I called our home. There are options to open in a new tab, to send data, which we will cover in a sec, and then to send page parameters, which are outside of the scope of this course. So here I created a page, and it's just a blank page with our header, and if I click home, we can see that we are redirected back to this page. Let's level this up. When I click a listing, I want to be redirected to a page that will provide me with some more information about the listing. If we look at our database structure, we can see that there is a description, which we don't see in this view, and that would be nice for us to be able to view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new page called detail page. We are going to build this in a similar manner to which we built our edit a listing pop-up. We are building it expecting information, and then this pop-up is holding a listing, and we are referencing the listing that the pop-up has. So when we actually click on it, we send the listing to our pop-up. The overall topic is similar. I'm going to make this a column. We can add in our header just for our navigation logic, and then let's add in a group. This is going to be a column. I want it to be our wireframe so that we can see it, can stretch all the way across, and expand to fit its content. Let's add some padding, and I'm going to have 32 at the top, and we can do 48 on left and right. And the bottom is fine. So just like with the pop-up, we need to somehow store the data that we are expecting. So we are going to do that on the page itself. I'm going to give it a type of content, listing, and pages don't have data sources. So we can just assume that it is somehow getting this listing and it's storing it on the page. Since we're storing it on the page, I want to pull that down into this group. So this group is also going to be of type listing, and its listing is going to be the current page's listing. So let's drag in an image. I'm going to give it a fixed aspect ratio of 3:2, and I'm going to let it stretch all the way across our page. The image is a little large. I could play around with it a little more, but I think it's fine for our purposes. So I'm going to update this image dynamically, and I'm just going to grab the current page listings picture, and that's what we are going to see here. I'm clicking on the page right now, and I'm going to expand its min height on the UI builder so we have a little more room to play with. The first thing I'm going to add under this image, but still within the group, is going to be some text that reads the parent group's listings statuses display, which is the name of an option set. I want this to fit with to content. I'm going to add some padding all around. Let's do 8 pixels. And let's give it a background style of this flat yellow color. and 8 pixels of roundness on the side should do. Now under that, I want to add our address. I'm going to expand this group so it's easier to drop stuff in. I'm going to give it a min height of 1000. Let's drop this in the group. This text is going to have no min width and no min height, but we're going to say fit width and fit height to content. This is going to read the parent group's listings address. And actually, I want the font weight to be semi-bold. Under this, let's add our price. The parent group's listings price. Just like we did on the other one, we're going to format it as currency, thousand separator as a comma, and then a $sign. I'm going to make this slightly larger. We can make this a heading 6. I'm going to say fit width to content, fit height to content. All of that is already set up. Now, in addition to our price, I also want to have a little label under it saying that this is indeed the price. So this is not going to be anything dynamic. It's just going to say price. I want to keep these two together, so I'm going to group these elements in a column. And our column can just fit width to content and have 8 pixels of gap spacing. Similarly to how we have price and price together, I also want to keep our beds like that with a little label at the bottom, and our bats, number of bats with a label. These bats as well as square footage. This can read square feet. On our square feet, we can say formatted as a number with a thousand separator as a comma. I think that just tends to look nicer. Now, having these stacked like this doesn't look as nice because if we really think about it, these are going to end up just being a number. Like this will most likely be a 1-digit number. So it's best if we keep these all aligned horizontally. I'm going to go and group these elements in a row. That'll put them next to each other like that. It's looking really long, but it will look much better actually. I'm going to say fit width to content, fit height to content, and then we can add 32 pixels of column gap. Back to this, all of these are getting really squished together, so on this main group listing, I'm going to add 16 pixels of gap spacing in between each of them. Now, all of this is the same as we can see on this page. What's really different is going to be our About the Home section. This is going to be a section, this is going to be a heading 6, but I'm actually going to make it 16 pixels instead, and this is just going to read About This Home. I'm going to say fit width to content, remove the min width, remove the min height, you know the drill. Under this, we need a section to actually tell us about the home. For this, I'm going to use body, and it's going to be parent groups listings, description. It's just going to give us all of that information. I actually want to group these together, so I'm going to group these elements in a column container. Now I can add in 32 pixels of gap spacing as well as 32 pixels of padding at the top. Now that I have the padding, it acts as some separation, it provides some separation between this and this. Now that we have some spacing, I also want to add just one pixel of, just want to add one line at the top, and I'm going to give it 50% opacity, so it's just like a gray color. Okay, there's no use previewing this because there's no listing associated with the page. Sorry, a couple things that we need to fix. My bad. On this group listing, we gave it a max width of 1000. I meant to say 1200. And then on this image, I had said a fixed aspect ratio of 3:2, but upon further deliberation, I realized that it's better to actually just have a fixed height of 350 and let it expand horizontally however much the screen allows. Then for our run mode rendering, we need to use zoom. This will stop things from getting warped and stretched. And so we set this up all reliant on the page having some sort of listing. So let's actually set up the navigation to be able to click this, redirect to the page, and also send the current listing with it. So we want to click here on this main group listing, and we can add a workflow. This workflow, we will go to our detail page, but we will also send data, and the data we're going to send is the current sales listing. Let's test this out. I'm going to click on this. So this is what it looks like on a laptop, for example, and as it gets smaller, we can start seeing more of the picture.